Alright, picture this. You're scrolling online at 2 a.m., half a bag of chips deep, and a motorcycle shows up that actually makes you pause mid-crunch. Not because it's shouting with gaudy graphics or some ludicrous horsepower number, but because it's whispering something dangerous. Does that even make sense? Probably not. But that's the vibe of the 2026 Aprilia Tuono 457. Now, I gotta be straight with you right out of the gate here. I've been writing and writing about these two-wheeled obsessions for way too long, and a small bike hasn't gotten under my skin quite like this in a hot minute. The name alone, Tuono, that's Italian for thunder, which is just deliciously dramatic. Aprilia has been slapping that badge on fire breathers like the V4 for decades, bikes that make grown men weep at bike meets, and predictably empty their 401ks. So when word dropped that Noali's brain trust had cooked up a motorcycle for the rest of us, a $6,599 Streetfighter, well, my eyebrow did that skeptical Spock thing. $6.5 grand. I mean, that's what some folks drop on a mountain bike these days. Let that rattle around in your skull for a bit. Is it a real Aprilia? Oh, I hear you, purists. No, the thing is screwed together in India, not on some ancient marble workbench in Italy. The whole 457 lineup is. But here's where I'm planted. If the core engineering wizardry, the ride-by-wire electronics, and that peculiar racing soul all trace her ancestry back to the Aprilia factory, who cares? Genuinely. The journalists who've already chucked these things down California racetracks and along cobbled Italian backroads certainly didn't seem fussy about the passport. We'll circle back to that. So what's the heartbeat? It's a 457cc parallel twin. Numbers? Okay, 47.6 horses at 9,400 RPM, with 32 pound-feet of torque peaking around 6,700. Snore, right? On paper, it's just, well, adequate. But paper is a liar sometimes. The trick, and oh, it's a proper trick, is the 270-degree crank. It's the exact same magic dust Aprilia sprinkles in their bigger 660 twins. And what does that do? It gives this little engine a lumpy, off-kiltered throb that sounds and feels way more like a V-twin stretching its legs. The thing has rhythm, you know? There's a pulse in the handlebars that eggs you on, when frankly, you should be rolling off the gas and acting your age. It's personality, plain and simple. And the engine itself is a tidy little package, something like 13 pounds lighter than the 660's motor. Helps the whole bike tip the scales at a ready-to-ride 385 pounds. That's, very flickable. A power-to-weight ratio that Aprilia themselves say is class-leading, and honestly, from the saddle, you're not gonna argue much. Now, this is the bit that genuinely made me mutter something unprofessional under my breath. The electronics. For under 7 grand, the tech suite here feels like someone at the Aprilia factory lost a bet. Ride-by-wire, real traction control, and 3 distinct riding modes: Sport, Eco, Rain. At your thumb's disposal. A dedicated switch right on the bar. No menu diving, no pulling over and cursing. Just click. Sport is zesty, immediate. Rain tucks its shirt in and smooths everything down. And Eco, it's actually useful. Not a castrated, joyless mode, just a gentle hand on your shoulder when you're commuting in the drudgery, saving your wilder antics for the weekend. The full-color TFT is crisp, layout intuitive, makes bikes costing 2-3 grand more feel a tad stingy if we're being honest. But, and you knew a butt was lurking around a corner somewhere, it ain't flawless. Before you sprint to the dealership with a pre-approved check in your sweaty hand, let's chew on the reality a bit. Getting your knee down was never so easy-going. The ergonomics are a massive, human-friendly departure from the RS457 it sprang from. A wider, taller bar puts you upright, commanding. You can commute on this. You can dawdle for hours and not need a chiropractor. Yet twist into a canyon and that position is silly good, isn't it? Sporty without the dramatics. Little things? The foot pegs have rubber inserts that actually dampen the buzz, a godsend on a twin. At 31.5 inches, the seat height is welcoming to a huge range of folks. And the frame? A genuine aluminum twin-spar job, not some cobbled-together afterthought. One guy I read pushed the bike past 80 on some sweeping Italian roads, said it was as planted as an oak tree. That's not typical beginner bike narrative, that's just good engineering. Turns in with no wobble, holds a line. It's a partner, not a liability. Plus, you'll squeeze maybe 57 miles from a gallon out of the 3.3-gallon tank. So what, a solid 150-mile range? For a naked, that'll do. Okay, the honesty part, I promise you that. First rub, the tires. Those stock Eurogrip Pro Torque Extremes. Man, they are the bike's weak link, and basically everyone who's ridden it agrees. Are they unsafe? Nah, you won't just randomly fall off. The problem's the feedback, or rather, the lack there. They whisper when they should be shouting, particularly when you're properly on it, cranked over, looking for that reassuring squirm. My advice, if you're even half serious about track days or aggressive street riding, just budget for a quality set of rubber right out of the gate. It'll transform the entire machine, night and day. Second niggle, the brakes. Single disc setup, standard ABS, perfectly fine for the street, stops you. But in a class where the competition's inching forward with their brake hardware game, the Tuono just feels a tad basic up front. Not bad, just not special. Which brings us to that price tag. At $6,599, it's the priciest kid in the playground. A Kawasaki Z500 chuckles at $5,699. The KTM 390 Duke is $6,499. A Triumph Speed 400 is a mere $5,395. And Yamaha's MT-03 can be had for $4,999, a chunk less. So what exactly are you paying the extra for? The premium? I'll tell you. That glorious frame, the borderline overkill electronics, that weird and wonderful engine character, and the badge. When the badge says Aprilia, it's not just hollow marketing fluff. It still carries some weight, some racing heritage from a different planet. So I gotta ask you something nobody seems to be asking. Is this really an entry-level bike? Because the more you look at what it's capable of, commuting, canyons, laps on tracks, a long weekend, that label feels faintly insulting. It starts to feel like calling it a beginner bike is doing it a disservice. Journalists hammering it on California circuits said it was an absolute giggle right until you hit the higher revs, where it tails off past 9,000. Not a flaw really, just physics. At 47 horsepower, it won't humble a leader bike, but it will absolutely embarrass a lot of riders, including folks who've been twisting throttles for years, if their attention wanders for a second. It's that eager. The 26 Tuono 457 is in US dealers right now. Two colors, Puma Gray and, my choice, hands down, Piranha Red. The red looks exactly as bloody-minded aggressive as the thing rides. If you're flirting with the idea of jumping into motorcycling, or if you're a crusty vet considering downsizing without dulling the sparkle, test ride this one. It's imperfect, sure, but it's also genuinely electric, startlingly capable, and unapologetically Italian in every way that counts. Hey, want to see the Tuono 457 go toe-to-toe with its fiercest rivals? Stick around. I've got a breakdown popping up on your screen, well, right about now, that pits the top naked bikes under $7,000 in a proper bare-knuckle brawl. You're already here, already curious, don't wander off. Hit that video and I'll catch you in the next one.